Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Extreme Rules review for tonight, Sunday, May 19th, 2013. Well, if you didn't see my wall review last week, I said it then, and I'll say it again. Extreme Rules was the worst Extreme Rules I've ever seen, and indeed it was. I said it was going to be the baddest one I've seen, and boy, oh boy, it was. But let me say this. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still, nothing too exciting. The main event, I thought was going to be the main event. I'm glad it actually was in the main event. But it was actually pretty more exciting than I thought it was going to be despite the ending. Plus, we got two new champions. And especially if you already read the title of this review, you know who I'm referring to of who won the championships tonight. And happily so. Now review my thoughts, talk my thoughts on those new champions when we get to those matches. Doing down the card. So like I said, the card I knew was gonna suck, and it was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but still nothing. It was more average. There was some good weapon uses, but there was nothing too much excitement. In the main event, it was the match I thought it was gonna be. I knew it was gonna suck, and boy oh boy was I absolutely right, and then some. Last year's Extreme Rules was headlined by a great street fight between Chris Jericho and CM Punk. And of course, his absence is still noticeable, especially within this card tonight. I think I gave that Extreme Rules last year. I think I gave it a high rating, even with CENA and Brock Lesnar, which is, in my mind, Brock Lesnar's best match. At least that was exciting, unlike tonight's match. I will rate this. I've been off and on with the rating. I'll give this pay-per-view 6.0. Couple screwy endings. There was a couple screwy endings involved in the card tonight. I'll tell you those when we get to them. So there you go, 6.0 out of 10 my rating for this pay-per-view. Like I said, not a lot of excitement, just some okay things, but mostly, like I said, pay-per-view was a mixed bag, like I knew it was going to be. Let's kick things off with the first match on the pregame show. The Miz taking on Cody Rhodes, a match made 7 days in advance with no hype. Of course, Miz came back last week on Raw after a few weeks off. And what does he get for his comeback? Another pregame match. I think Miz has been in more pregame matches than anybody since they've started doing pregames last year at Extreme Rules. But the match, despite being a pregame match, despite having little or no hype, actually wasn't that bad, but if it was more booked properly, if they had something to fight for, like, let's say if it was like a number one contendership match for Wade Barrett's IC Championship, it would have been a better, more exciting matchup with more added on to it. But for what it was, for it being just a pre-show match with little or no hype, and made within 6 days of the pay-per-view, the match was pretty decent. It was kind of back and forth action, some decent spots, some great counters and stuff. And some decent action from both guys. Cody Rhodes dominated with the early half of the matchup. And Cody did try crossbows a few times. And of course, Miz did go for a splash a few times, but never got to nail it. He didn't even get to nail the Skull Crushing finale. He did indeed get to do the figure four at least once or twice. And of course, the second time after Cody was going for a big move, after Cody was going for a big drop kick and Miz blocked it, Miz grabbed the legs of Cody and got the figure four on it for the second time and made him tap. So there you go. Cody Rhodes taps out to the figure four of the Miz. 2.2. Okay matchup to begin the night with the pregame. But like I said, it wasn't booked. It didn't have any hype to it. It didn't have any build-up. It was just some tossed in together and tossed at the last minute with little or no build-up. But for what it was decent. So there you go. Miz gets the victory in a pregame match yet again. Now with the main card. Starting off with Chris Jericho taking on Fandango. Better than the Mania match for sure. Way better than the Mania match. It was decent. For the pay-per-view opener, it was pretty good. Fandango looked actually pretty decent tonight. He had some great kicks, though. I think that's all he did, though, was some kicks and some drags. But he looked pretty good out there tonight, you know. This being the rubber match between... This being the... well, not being the rubber match, but it may be a rubber match. Now, there may be another match, especially after the ending. Decent ending, by the way, which I'll explain. But, indeed, Fandango did look pretty good. But, of course, Jericho kept fighting back with the crowd on his side. And, of course, Fandango was wearing those funky little pants, those same pants he wore last week during the dance-off. The crowd was pretty good in St. Louis tonight. I did hear chants of Fruity Pebbles making fun of Fandango's pants. John Cena ain't the only one called a Fruity Pebble. Fandango is. And now a lot of Fandangoing. By the way, like I said, Fandango got some good moves. He did get some great kicks to the head of Jericho. Surprised he didn't get any concussions, especially since people are getting concussions lately. And of course, there was some injuries galore throughout the evening, which I forgot to mention when I was starting this review. But I'll tell you about the somewhat injuries, especially in our co and main event, in a moment. But indeed, there was a good action. Coach Jericho did try the walls of Jericho many times during the matchup. But indeed, Fandango got out of it every time. He made a good counter. And even Fandango was going for his big move. He did attempt his big head scissors kick, head scissors off the top. But Jericho got out of it. And of course, Fandango missed it. And then, of course, Fandango did come back strong after Jericho came back with a Fury. And as Fandango was going for a big move off the top rope again, I thought he was going for his big move again. I thought that when Fandango was going for that last big maneuver in the air off the top rope, I thought Jericho was going to caught him in midair and deal him with the walls of Jericho. Well, Jericho did caught him in the air, but not with the walls of Jericho, as I thought. Instead, Fandango was going for a big move off the top, jumped up, caught him in there by Jericho with a code breaker. In a 1-2-3 victory for Chris Jericho. So it was the ending that I thought it was going to be, but a little different. I thought like Fandango was going to go off the top. Jericho was going to caught him in midair, grab his legs, and put him in the walls of Jericho. But instead, Jericho caught him in midair with the code breaker. And now, like I kind of botched up a little bit, we now will probably have a rubber match. Because Fandango won a match at Mania, and now Jericho won a match against Fandango at Extreme Rules. So I think it's 1-1. I think there will be a rubber match, probably on Raw tomorrow night. So there you go. 2.2 for this match. Notice the ratings, especially I don't think any match is going to get a higher rating than like a 2.5. That's how bad this pay-per-view was. Like just mixed bag. So there you go. Jericho wins a decent opener against Fandango, some decent action. And Fandango looked okay tonight. He did have some decent moves, but hopefully Fandango's got potential. But we'll see how he goes from here, especially after losing to Jericho this time after beating him at Mania. So there you go. Jericho gets the victory. Sets a possible woman match. Let's move on to the start of, well, a domination of a certain team. The Shield. Start of the dominance was the United States Championship match as Dean Ambrose was going up against Kofi Kingston. Now, of course, Kofi Kingston, coming with his high-flying style, dominated the early half of the matchup, and happily without any much interference from his other Shield members, Rollins and Reigns, who, of course, getting ready for their big title match against Team Hell No in that Tornado Tag. Ambrose did indeed came back winning, and of course, came back strong in the later half of the matchup, dominating with some decent moves. Even pulling in a crossface chicken wing. But indeed, Kofi came flying back, nailed the boom drop. It was ready to go to Trouble in Paradise. I think Kofi did attempt Trouble in Paradise many times, but indeed, Dean Ambrose got out of it every time. Kofi even did nail his other big move, the SOS move. But indeed, Ambrose did get nailed with the Trouble in Paradise after numerous attempts by Kofi. And of course, Ambrose still kicked out of it. The ending came when Kofi was trying to go for the Trouble in Paradise for the third time. But Ambrose ducked out of that Trouble in Paradise, nailed his big finisher headlock driver for the victory. And yes, new United States Champion, Dean Ambrose. Now, whether you love or hate the Shield in the storyline right now, I think they've gotten a lot better ever since they got rid of the whole CM Punk looking for Punk angle. Just fighting for justice in their own minds, especially doing the dominance and tag team matches, the 6-man tag matches. You know, they look very well in the teamwork, and they're pretty good athletes. The mic looks okay, but still, they got a decent look about them and decent action about them. And I hope that this is a good jump up for Ambrose, with Shield capturing its first championship in its group with with Ambrose getting the U.S. Championship in a decent match against Kofi Kingston. I'll give this match a 2.4 because of the fact that we have a new U.S. champion being Dean Ambrose. I kind of marked down a little bit. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of Sheer when it first came in, but I like the style. I like the no-nonsense style, and Ambrose is a decent wrestler, and I hope that he has a great United States Championship reign. Hope they book him better as a U.S. champion than they're booking Dolph Ziggler as world champion or Wade Barrett as an IC champion. And hopefully Kofi can come back to strong, especially since Kofi had an okay short reign as champion, only having it for I think about 2 or 3 weeks. But Kofi's still stuck in mid-card. I don't think he'll ever advance. I think Ambrose has a better chance of advancing towards a possible World or WWE Championship match, especially with the lack of talent going on and people getting injured left and right. So there you go. Dean Ambrose gets the victory and the new U.S. champion. We will see, of course, about Rollins and Reigns in their tag team title match later on in the evening. Now on to our strap match, our first kind of extreme match. It was, of course, Mark Henry against Sheamus. Now, it was a match I knew it was going to be kind of a boring match. You know, I wish they used the strap more as a weapon than they did. They did use the strap as a weapon, but they didn't use it as much. And it was like unexciting. You know, I knew it was not going to be the best match, especially with Mark Henry not being good. I did like the sexual chocolate chance. Anywho, both guys, of course, the object of the match was to drag your opponent to each corner and touch each of the turnbuckles. Of course, you had 2 buttons. Green for Sheamus. Makes sense. And red for Mark Henry was the color of both their tights. And I remember there was one spot when Sheamus was nailing the turnbuckles from outside the ring. Jerry the King Lawler's like, I haven't seen that before. Sting Vader strap match. Super Bowl 3, 1993. I think Sting, that's what I'm saying. Like Jerry King said, I never saw that before. Maybe not in WWE. But I think I've seen Sting do that before in his strap match. Now, strap matches are mostly violent and exciting because they're blood. But now that it's TV PG, we gotta get used to bloodless matches. That's why Extreme Rules may not make sense a lot anymore. Because why have these extreme matches when it's not going to be extreme violence or extreme blood, which we didn't see? Well, we kind of saw blood, but only on 7 parts, especially now next match. The I Quit match for the number 1 contendership for the world title. So there was even one spot where Mark Henry was hitting each turnbuckle with Sheamus on top of him, and Sheamus hit every turnbuckle as well when Henry was hitting him too. You're like, yeah, I'm Mark Henry, and like I'm trying to use some like Sheamus. Like this is Sheamus, and I'm Mark Henry. I touched the turnbuckle, and Sheamus hit it too. So that was kind of a funny little spot there. But Sheamus did eventually, Sheamus got close various times to hit all 4 turnbuckles. He did hit 3 and got stopped. But in the end, he did get to hit the 4th turnbuckle to get the victory. He did get to hit all 3 again. But with Mark Henry still standing in his way, Sheamus nailed the bro kick. Knocked Henry down with that kick. And got to nail the 4th turnbuckle. And gets the victory. And Sheamus gets the victory in this strap match. 2.0. I was okay. I just wish they used the strap a little more. They didn't use the strap on each other. You know, they whipped each other's strap a few times. They did nail it. I think Sheamus did nail Mark Henry against the ring post with it. He dragged the strap towards Mark Henry in the post. And, but not much uses when it comes to whipping the strap and not much violence. That would be, of course, the theme of the night with not much violence going on in these extreme matches. That's why the pay-per-view kind of was just okay tonight. So there you go. That's what you get for TVPG, WWE. Sheamus gets a victory. Let's move on to the only good thing about Extreme Rules, no Divas match. Although we did see a Diva confrontation with the Divas champion, Kaitlyn, again. AJ, leading up to a cat fight in the back after there was a Looney Tunes joke that nobody got. I don't think anybody laughed to Kaitlyn's Looney Tunes joke. Because AJ's crazy. She acts like a cartoon character. I kind of got it, but no one else did. That's what happens when you're TVPG WWE. You alienate your older fans who will get the jokes like Looney Tunes. Kids don't even know who the hell Looney Tunes is. They made a SpongeBob reference. They would get it, but not a Looney Tunes reference. So there you go. AJ and Caitlyn got into a street fight, a little bit of a cat fight backstage, with Tamina and Bella Twins looking on until the referees broke it up. Now on to the I Quit match. Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger caused the last-minute replacement for the World Heavyweight Championship match after Ziggler got a concussion. I said on my one review on last week that I thought this match was gonna suck because it's like it was TV PG, not much violence. Like I've said on the that match, like with these extreme matches, they're not violent because they're not gonna be any blood or any extreme violence. But this is more violent than I thought it was gonna be, but not enough. They did. The match was okay. You know, it was decent action from both guys. Of course, both guys going for the weak link of to nail both their finishers with Swagger going for the knee a lot. And of course, Alberto going for the arm to get the cross-arm breaker going. Of course, Zeb Coulter came out before and make some speech about the iOS thing. I'm not much of a political guy, so I'm not going to comment about Zeb Coulter's little speech about the iOS shit, blaming the immigrants, even calling the St. Louis Cardinals the Caribbean Cardinals because there's no American-born people. So there was some decent spot. They did use a Kindle stick in the match, but I wish they did tease a steel cage, but I mean not a steel cage, but a steel chair. But they never used it, unfortunately. And the match, I think this match was also kind of better than the Mania match, but the ending was kind of screwy. This is the first of two kind of screwy endings tonight. Of course, Swagger and Alberto both went for their big finishing moves and even countered each other. I think Swagger did nail the ankle lock, the Patriot Act at one point. Then Alberto countered out of that and turned it into the cross-arm breaker. And of course, Alberto, after that, did nail his big kicks. But indeed, Swagger, I think he went for... Then Swagger went for his big moves as well. He went for the Gunwich Powerbomb, the Swagger Bomb. And then Swagger did get in the ankle lock again. After, of course, Alberto countered the first ankle lock attempt to a cross-arm breaker. But as Jack Swagger had the ankle lock, the Patriot Act, what you want to call it, cinched in, Alberto Del Rio's personal ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez, had a towel that he was going to throw in the towel because, you know, Alberto wasn't in pain and Alberto wasn't going to quit. If Alberto wasn't going to say, I quit, Ricardo was going to throw the towel for him. But with referee not looking, Zeb Coulter grabbed the towel and threw it in the ring. And referee not knowing who threw it, he kind of assumed it was Ricardo. The referee called the match, and it looked like Jack Swagger won. Now here's the screwiness of the ending. It appeared Jack Swagger won after Zeb Coulter threw the towel in, with ref thinking that it was Ricardo throwing it for Alberto. But then another referee came in to talk to Mike Chioda, showed an instant replay on an iPad. There's no instant replay in WWE. There's no play review. There's no review call. Like if there's a bad play in the NFL, there's a challenge flag. There's no challenges. In WWE, there's no instant replays. But after that referee showed Mike Chioda the replay of Zeb Coulter grabbing the towel, the match restarted. And Swagger went straight for the knee with the knee already damaged from Swagger putting the knee in the ankle lock Patriot Act for so long. Swagger went straight for the knee, trying to weaken the knee again, until Alberto nailed the cross-arm breaker yet again. And despite Swagger's attempts to counter it, Swagger couldn't get out of it, and Swagger had to say those embarrassing words, I quit. So indeed, Alberto Del Rio won the match. That means Alberto Del Rio is the new number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, and will finally get a proper one-on-one rematch against Dolph Ziggler unless Swagger interferes in that again like he did the first time Alberto tried for a one-on-one rematch for the world title. 2.0. I think I was going to get a match about 2.2, but the ending took away some points for me. Because the screwiness in the ending, Swagger, Pierre Trev won, then reversing that, making the match continue to have Alberto win in quick fashion. So it's kind of a weird, screwy ending. 2.0. Alberto wins. He'll move on to face Dolph Ziggler when he comes back. Now, on our next match, Which falls for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It was Team Hell No, Kane and D-Bry, taking on the Shields, Rollins and Reigns. Especially after Dean Ambrose won the IC Championship. Not the IC Championship. I always say US as IC from time to time. The US Championship, Reigns and Rollins had the advantage of their side with one of the members already capturing the championship. Of course, it was a tornado tag, which means all 4 men would start in the ring at the same time. And indeed, Kane and D-Bry, they went for the game plan they've gone against. They went for every match against the Shield they've been in. Every 6-man tag. Went straight at them. And ran some great double team moves. It was a decent matchup. It was another okay matchup. Like, it was just okay to decent tonight. It's average to decent. Nothing exciting, nothing excellent, just okay, average. Best match was decent, you know. Kane and D-Bry had some great double team moves, and D-Bry proved once again why he should be going for a world championship, not being one half of the tag champions. Whereas we all know from the ending, especially once again the title of the video, you all know what's coming. So Kane and D-Bry dominated the early half of the matchup, especially with some great double team moves, especially with not having to tag each other out. Of course, the flying goat, the subboard, everything. But indeed, like every other match with the Shield find a way to quickly turn the match into their favor. And indeed, that's what it did. When, of course, the no tagging, they both got involved in breaking each other. Like, every time Reigns was in a predicament, Rollins would break the count or break the hold. And, of course, Rollins, every time, I think Rollins went for a chokeslam once by Kane, and of course Reigns went for his famous spears, and there was a lot of action in this match, pretty decent action though. And even Brian did a diving headbutt from one time, and of course there was one point when it was basically Reigns all alone with D-Bry and Kane after Rollins got knocked out after Kane chokeslammed him. And of course, Kane got speared by Reigns again. And then even Rollins got back up and tried to nail D-Bry a few times. And then indeed, Kane went for another chokeslam eventually. Rollins broke it up again. And then Bryan went for the no-lock. He went for no-lock a few times in this matchup. And as Bryan was going for the no-lock on Rollins, Reigns counted out of the no-lock and lifted Bryan up with a big move. And of course a double team move with the finish being Rollins delivering a big thrust kick off the top rope with Daniel Bryan on top of Reigns, like a little double team move to end the match. 1, 2, 3. We have new tag team champions. So the Shield dominates tonight, and Shield wins the first bit of gold. I've read a lot of people on the internet say that if the WWE had a great opportunity tonight to give the Shield matches, I was glad. I said on my Raw review last week that I was glad that WWE finally gave Shield chances to win titles, and I hope WWE wasn't going to blow it and have Shield lose both matches or win one and lose one. But Shield won both matches. Ambrose is new U.S. champion. Reigns and Rollins are new tag team champions. I hope that all the members of the Shield make great champions in both the divisions. And like I said earlier, D-Bry should be going for a world title, especially with lack of championship guys now. I think D-Bry's got the talent. He showed it before. And I hope that D-Bry and Kane don't, at least, I hope if Kane and D-Bry go for another, they probably will get a rematch. And I hope that, I think Kane did nail D-Bry at one point. Like, Kane got accidentally pushed into D-Bry. So hopefully that'll cause a breakup. Hopefully they get a rematch. There's some sort of ending when Kane gets inadvertently went into D-Bry and D-Bry and Kane break up. Because I want D-Bry to go for a title. A war title. A WWE championship. I want Daniel Bryan to be a number one contender again for a title. A singles title. Not the tag title. So there you go. The Shield complete the dominance with Reigns and Rollins winning the tag team championships. 2.3 out of 5 for that match. Like I said, low ratings tonight, as you all probably can tell. Now our next match, which was an Extreme Rules match. Big Show against Randy Orton. Like I've said about this match as well, I knew it was going to be a little bit of a boring matchup with it being a street fight. I think Randy Orton did fight Kane last year in the Street Fight Extreme Rules. I thought that match was decent. But the match against Big Show and Orton was decent. They did use more weapons than used in any other matches I've seen thus far before the co-main event. Of course, Orton being a hometown boy, this being in St. Louis, his hometown, had, of course, the unfair, in many people's mind, hometown advantage. Orton did use, there's a lot of candlestick uses tonight. Orton did use many candlesticks, but of course Big Show blocked him before he had to use it, and Big Show broke both candlesticks both times. And even Orton got to near a ladder, which we wish we would saw in the Alberto Del Rio Jack Swagger match instead of being a I Quit match. That would have been cool to see. Swagger and Alberto did use a ladder as a weapon, but since it's not a ladder match, they didn't want to use it to kind of tease the fact that it wasn't going to be a ladder match between Alberto and Swagger like it was going to with Ziggler. Show, of course, dominated during the later half of the match, during the early half of the matchup, literally throwing his weight around, being a crap out of the board with his little moves and stopping, slow moving, and of course, Orton did fight back a few times, even nailing Big Show against the post a few times. And then, of course, the ladder did get used again with some okay spots in this match with Big Show going up the top, going for a big banzai splash on the Orton with a ladder on the edge of two chairs. But Orton ducked out of it, and Big Show basically hit a ladder. And now Orton kind of injured a wibble to his, the announcers were somewhat saying. And then Orton got his groove on after a Big Show dominance. After that miss from Big Show, Orton got his edge on, delivering the DDT, and then nailed the RKO for the first of two RKOs and a kick out from Big Show. Orton, like I said, did nail a chair to Big Show again, especially targeting those ribs. Did nail another RKO on the chair, but Big Show wasn't able to stay down for a count. After two RKO attempts failed, Randy Orton went for one last trick in his sleeve, a punt. That's what it took to beat Big Show. A punt to the head to the Big Show, and a 1-2-3 victory for Randy Orton. 2.0. Like I said, there's no match went higher than about 2.3 or 2.5 because everything was like just average or just good. Matches that should be on Raw or even main event. There was no really exciting pay-per-view quality matches tonight, although co-main event was kind of close, surprisingly so, as I will say in my next statement. So 2.0 out of 5 for Randy Orton, Big Show. It was a little bit more exciting than I thought it was going to be, but still, it was just okay. Just okay little street fight with Big Show and Orton. So they go, Orton wins! Please don't heel, fucker. But like I said, WWE's too pussy to do anything exciting. Either turn Orton heel, or of course turning John Cena heel. Speaking of Cena, on to our next match. A co-main event. I thought it'd be the main event. But after seeing the screwy ending of this match, I'm kind of glad it wasn't the main event. John Cena against RYBACK in a last man standing match for the WWE Championship. Especially if Cena... Now, I said on my Raw review a few times that I thought Cena was going to be injured before the last man standing match and be out of the pay-per-view. Yet it was Ziggler the one that was injured before his match at Extreme Rules, and he was out. But he didn't get stripped of the titles, we all know. But Cena RYBACK, last man statements, I had my trepidations about this match. But you know what? This match is probably, I hate to admit this, if there was anything that resembled a match of the night, this probably could be it. They used the most weapons in this match. They used tables, they used fire extinguishers, they used candlesticks again, they used chairs. It was pretty, especially, it kind of grew, it was a slow start. It had a decent finish until, of course, the weird ending. Which, in my mind, is a great way to wind out Cena, especially with his Achilles injury, as we would see. Of course, RYBACK went for his, of course, Goldberg chants galore. I did love the fact that RYBACK did have the Superman logo on the back of his tights, with SC for Super Cena. That was kind of funny. You know what? Everyone's calling him Goldberg. You know what? You should combine both RYBACK. I never thought of this before till tonight. I think RYBACK's name should be Ryberg. Ryback, why get it? Goldberg, Ryback, Ryback. So Ryback, really of course threw his weight around and he did nail the meat hook clothesline a few times and did nail a shell shock or two. But of course, dun, 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 Super Cena, the never say die attitude. He got out of every attempt, especially everything, like basically threw both Ryback and Cena threw everything but the kitchen sink at each other and couldn't keep the other down for a 10 count. This, of course, being a last man standing match. So, of course, the only other matchup with Cena, of course, delivering the 5 moves of doom. Although Cena did end up doing a powerbomb in this match, and even the sleeper during the match, especially when the fight went into the crowd. And that's when the match got almost exciting until the ending. There was some good spots of Cena FUing Ryback through a table. And also Ryback getting speared by Cena through the barricade with the announcers. Was of course segued towards them fighting in the crowd for the last half of the matchup. So, but like I said, despite everything they did to each other, especially like I said with Cena FUing Ryback through a table. And even Cena getting speared by Ryback through a table. Both men couldn't keep the other down. And like I said, after Cena and Ryback speared each other through a barricade where the announcers were, the ring bell person was, that's when Cena and Ryback took it to the crowd. And Cena did a big splash through another table. He climbed on one of the risers with seats on. And he did a big splash from one of the barricades off the top of a section of the arena onto a table with Ryback. And even Cena, before that, he did jump on top of Ryback for a sleeper hold. Like, he did nearly STFU and sleeper a few times for one purpose, to make Ryback pass out. But even that didn't keep the big man down. But after, of course, nailing Ryback with the fire extinguisher after the table splash, spraying him with it, and then nailing him with it, Ryback was temporarily blinded. Until Ryback came flying back. And then Cena was going for an AA, an FU. I'll never call it attitude adjustment. But as Cena was going for the FU, Ryback countered by tackling Cena through the video screen. This is where the screwy ending took place. So Cena and Ryback went. So Cena got tackled by Ryback through the video screen. That was a great spot, though. But for that spot meant the end of the match. After both men got tackled through the screen, we went to a ring with both men laid out and stretchers coming up. Basically, a no contest. The good news and the bad news of this match ending. The good news is Ryback doesn't become champion, thank God. But the bad news is not only does Cena retain the championship, but also in a screwy fashion with no real finish. With both men laid out, like I said, they threw out the match, and you did hear the crowd chant, "Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit!" So that's why I said it was a screwy ending. You had 2 screwy endings tonight with the Alberto Del Rio Jack Swagger ending with the restart, and of course Cena and Ryback having that great epic spot. The only thing that was somewhat close to being epic in this night, with Ryback tackling Cena through the video screen. That was a cool spot until, of course, became the spot where the match would end. And like I said, the ending was not only a great way to kind of like not have Ryback win the championship, but also was a great way to somewhat write off Cena, finally writing him out to get another injury on his hands. But of course, Cena, I'm surprised that Ryback did not go for the Achilles tendon. There was no big target on it tonight, like there was on Monday. But Cena did get carried out on a stretcher wearing a neck brace. So I think now they're going to have another injury to write him out with a neck injury as well as the Achilles. So that's one way of putting it, is that at least at an ending where they finally can write out Cena for a while. When Cena can fully recover from his Achilles tendon. Not only having him having an Achilles injury, but having him write out with a neck injury. But like I said, the ending was kind of screwy with the no contest. But it was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought the match was going to suck, but it's actually pretty physical. With the most weapons I've seen used in the match, especially with a main event sucking like I knew it was going to be, like I'll explain in a few moments. So there you go. No contest. 2.0. I was going to get the match about 2.2, 2.3. But unfortunately, the ending took away points. So 2.0 for the silly ending, no contest, after that killer spear tackled through the screen. Now the main event. The match that I knew was going to be a sucky match. Triple H and Brock Lesnar in a steel cage. Last year, Brock Lesnar and Cena had the main event. And although the match was not as exciting, not much wrestling, it was better than this main event tonight with Triple H and Lesnar. Like I've been saying all along on my Raw review and also my Mania review, it doesn't matter what match they're in. And you saw that at Mania, even with the no-holds-barred stipulation, the match still sucked. And my point was proven yet again tonight as this steel cage match was horrible. There was not much action. Like, especially with the beginning of the match, Lesnar came out first. And then Triple H came out in a... Like, he didn't even come out for his entrance. He just ambushed Lesnar and dragged him to the cage to start the match. And basically, both men threw each other against each end of the cage. Like, Triple H, Lesnar for one cage to the other. That proved the format of the match. Once again, it was not much wrestling. It was just two grown men pushing each other around and just punching and kicking each other. It's just not much excitement. Of course, Heyman would be, of course, the big factor in this matchup. He did nail a cage door against Triple H at one point in the match, and of course got involved in the match that, of course, sealed the ending of the match, which I'll get to in a moment or two. I wish this was a Hell in a Cell, though, but even with the Hell in a Cell, it still would have mattered, like I keep mentioning. Especially with no weapons underneath the ring. But Brock Lesnar did make Paul Heyman toss in a chair. He did nail Triple H with it. And, of course, the move that kind of changed the complexity for the match for a while, as Lesnar was somewhat dominant after Triple H's early fury. Lesnar was going for a big move on Triple H at one end of the cage, but Lesnar ducked it. Triple H ducked it, and Lesnar nailed his leg. So like I said in my video title, Injuries Galore, with Cena getting someone injured with the storyline neck injury with the spear ending through the screen, and Triple H and Lesnar with Lesnar getting injured with the knee lift that went wrong with his knee hitting. And I don't know if it's storyline injury or not, but Lesnar was in pain. And that kind of basically changed the complexity of Triple H really targeting the leg for the majority of the match. Really aiming at the leg, nailing the leg with a chair, and really going towards that leg, including putting it in a sharpshooter and a finger form. Miz ain't the only one to do the finger four tonight. Triple H did, especially Evolution. Anywho, so indeed, Lesnar did try to fight back even with the leg, even trying to climb out of the cage once, until Triple H nailed him with the chair to the bad leg, sending him back down to the ground. But as Lesnar was in his weakest, even with the Kimura lock attempt a few times, Triple H was, of course, ready to seal the victory, even grabbing a sledgehammer from the top of the cage, which unfortunately would be against him than for him in this matchup, as we would see. Of course, Heyman got involved way many times in the beginning with the nailing Triple H as Triple H was escaping through the door. He got nailed with the door with Heyman, but then, of course, Heyman got into the match. He got into the cage at one point and got pedigreed by Triple H. And then he did pedigree Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar went and got the kick out for a 2 count. But indeed, as Triple H was finally going to nail Lesnar with the hammer, Heyman, starting to come true, nailed Triple H with a low blow. And ladies and gentlemen, that was a spot that was the beginning of the end of the matchup. After that low blow, Brock Lesnar did get the sledgehammer and got the nail Triple H on the head. Now, I thought this was going to happen. Brock Lesnar took too much time showboating, and I thought Triple H was going to get back up and nail Lesnar eventually. Especially I thought when Brock Lesnar was going to carry Triple H back up after showboating, that Triple H was going to come to and surprise Brock with a pedigree out of nowhere. But that didn't happen, didn't it? Brock Lesnar did carry Triple H's motionless body after the sledgehammer shot, nailed the F5 in the victory. 1, 2, 3 for Brock Lesnar. In this rubber match, Brock Lesnar gets the victory. But it doesn't matter, the match is stupid. Like I said, time and time again about this match. When this match is made, it doesn't matter what stipulation it is. The match was boring. It was too many lull times. Not much action. Not much excitement. 1.5. Probably the lowest rating of the night. And I knew this match was going to suck from the beginning. And boy, like I said, my point was proven yet again. And of course, Triple H was carried out on a stretcher. Not carried out on a stretcher, but carried out by officials. So where does Brock Lesnar go from here? Hopefully, bye-bye. I thought Brock Lesnar's comeback was going to be a good thing, but hasn't delivered any good performances. But let's have Brock Lesnar feud with somebody else. Like Orton or Sheamus. Now apparently Orton and Sheamus have both ended their feuds with Mark Henry and Big Show are both winning tonight, both their matches. Hopefully Lesnar can fight both Orton or Sheamus, especially if Rock may not be returning for a while. So, there you go. Brock Lesnar wins. Whoop-de-freaking-do. The match still sucks like I knew it was going to be with Triple H. 1.5 out of 10. Wait, 1.5 out of 5. 1.5 out of 5 for that match. Triple H and Lesnar once again telling you that score. And once again, running the score of my pay-per-view. 6.0 out of 10. It was just a mixed bag tonight like I knew it was going to be. And Payback's coming up. Hopefully, Dolph Ziggler's back by then. Christian's back by then. And then Evan Bourne may come back tomorrow night as well as Christian. Please, people, come back and hype up the team. But, of course, the best thing about this pay-per-view, the only good thing was Shield winning the titles. That is it for my Extreme Rules review for tonight. I'll see you all later. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Have a good night, everybody. See you all later. Yeah.